It incorrectly paid the restaurant's cooks straight time rates for overtime hours worked and allowed the general manager to include himself in the front of the house workers' tip pool illegally.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
This is what bosses were up to in the United States South and the American colonies. Over in Missouri, we had $1 million thief. The U.S. Department of Labor has filed suit in federal court against a Jefferson City buffet restaurant and its owner after investigators with the department's wage and hour division found servers worked for tips only and cooks were paid a set cash salary regardless of how many hours they worked, leading to violations of minimum wage or overtime regulations. Filed on September 17th, 2024 in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Missouri, the lawsuit seeks $1.87 million, representing $935,000 in back wages and an equal amount in liquidated damages for 26 workers. That is insane. Stealing $1 million from 26 workers. How much is that per worker? Let's see. Almost $40,000 stolen per worker. That is absolutely bizarre. That is crazy. But, you know, this is what bosses do. The department also assessed a civil money penalty of $35,000 for willful violations of the Fair Labor Standards Act. The action comes after the department's wage and hour division found from at least December 21st, 2021 through July 31st, 2024, the employer violated federal regulations by doing the following: by paying cooks and other back-of-the-house employees straight time rates for when overtime rates should have been paid, failing to pay servers and other front-of-the-house employees the required minimum wage and overtime pay, paying servers only the tips they received, and not maintaining complete and accurate time records as required. Allowing servers to work for tips only and pay a set cash wage to cooks blatantly violates federal wage law. All too often, our food service industry investigations find employers violating federal overtime, minimum wage, and record-keeping regulations. At the same time, workers are unaware of their rights and afraid to question their paycheck's accuracy, said Wage and Hour District Director Noah Lee. In addition to paying back wages, damages, and penalties, the lawsuit seeks to forbid Dragon Kitchen and Cheng from future FLSA violations and requires them to provide employees information on their federal wage protections in languages employees request. In fiscal year 2023, the Wage and Hour Division recovered more than $29 million in back wages for food service industry workers nationwide. In Louisiana, we have some more thieves, lots of thieves this week. In Louisiana, renowned for its food and restaurant options, the New Orleans economy depends on its service, on the city's service workers, including 359 people employed by 5 restaurants that the U.S. Department of Labor investigators found made illegal wage deductions and paid them less than the minimum wage. The department's Wage and Hour Division, determined by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon, the Hideout Bar, Mambo's, Oceana Grill, and the Old Nola Cookery, deducted the cost of uniforms, order errors, liquor shortages, customer walkouts, and customer credit card disputes from employees' wages. Jeez, that's wild. In violation of federal regulations. The investigation recovered $109,000, including $54,000 in back wages and an equal amount in damages for the tipped servers and bartenders. The investigations are part of an ongoing enforcement initiative by the division to identify violations in the restaurant industry and recover back wages. If warranted, the division will recover damages and assess civil money penalties.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Wow. Over in Texas, we have some more thieves. The U.S. Department of Labor recovered $230,000 in back wages from the owner and operator of a Happy Lamb Hot Pot franchise in Grand Prairie that denied 47 restaurant workers required minimum and overtime wages and illegally allowed a manager to keep a portion of servers' tips. The recovery follows an investigation by the department's Wage and Hour Division of XFY Times Square LLC that found the employer violated violated federal regulations when it did the following. It paid the affected workers for scheduled hours, but did not calculate actual hours worked, which led to overtime and, in some cases, minimum wage violations. It incorrectly paid the restaurant's cooks straight time rates for overtime hours worked, and allowed the general manager to include himself in the front of the house workers' tip pool illegally. Far too often, our investigators find restaurant industry workers falling victim to wage theft, said Wage and Hour Division Director Jesus L.A. Valdez in Dallas. Employers must pay workers all of their rightful wages.
Wow. Lots of thieves.
Lots of thieves. We have some discriminators to round us out, though. Over in Georgia, Osmos Utilities Services Incorporated, a provider of services and products to utility companies to support their infrastructures, violated federal law when it denied an employee an accommodation for her disability and then fired her, the EEOC charged in a lawsuit filed last week. According to the EEOC's lawsuit, one call locator who had suffered a head injury and stroke requested to work fully remote from home as an accommodation. In-person attendance was not an essential function of the position, and Osmos Utilities had previously allowed the employee to work remotely while its office was relocated in 2019. However, Osmos Utilities denied the employee's request to work remotely as an accommodation for her medical condition. Alternatively, the employee requested to work remotely for 2 to 3 days per week. However, Osmos Utilities denied the employee's alternative request. Although the employer granted the employee leave to attend medical appointments, management complained about the employee leaving work to go to medical appointments and pressured her to end her appointments prematurely. 6 weeks after her first accommodation request, the employee was fired without any warning. Such alleged conduct violates the Americans with Disabilities Act, which prohibits disability discrimination and retaliation against an employee with a disability. The EEOC is seeking back pay, compensatory damages, and punitive damages for the employee, as well as injunctive relief to prevent future discrimination. This case highlights the importance of considering remote work as a reasonable accommodation for employees with disabilities, said Marcus G. Keegan, regional attorney for the EEOC's Atlanta District Office. Employees have the right to request reasonable accommodations under the ADA and should not be treated adversely when they do so. Daryl Graham, district director of the EEOC's Atlanta District Office, said employers must understand that disability discrimination is both illegal and unacceptable, and we will vigorously pursue justice on behalf of workers who are denied their rights to reasonable accommodations and unlawfully terminated because of a disability.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.
Which side are you on?